Hello. Welcome to Loving Me Before I Love You podcast with Tammy Nicole. As you know, over here, we talk all things self-love, and today is no different. We will be discussing self-love and motherhood, and I have a special guest with me today. Now, she's a little special for more than one reason. You know, she's special. Well, we ain't gonna talk about why she's really special, but that's a little family love. I have my cousin with me today, Miss Markecha Love. We're not going to talk about how her last name just became Love because I was about to call her Coleman because she's going to always be Coleman. But period. So, but I have her with me today. She is actually on her own journey with her own company, teaching women about loving themselves as well. But she focuses on motherhood a lot. And so we're going to discuss self-love and motherhood. And she will bring her company into the equation at some point. So you'll get to know a little bit about her and what they do. But She Chose Her. And the founder of She Chose Her is Miss Markecha Coleman Love. We're gonna have to put that in. Yeah, we're gonna have to put that in. Sorry. She's always a Coleman. But welcome, Keish. Welcome to the show.
Hello. Thank you for having me, and hello, amazing people. I am your girl, Keish, but I am Markecha Love, aka Markecha Coleman. I've only been married like 4 months, so I'm still getting used to being able to be like, okay, Markecha Love. I ain't even changed all my name over yet. So we still like Markecha Coleman Love, Markecha Coleman, Markecha Love. So yeah. But I'm so excited to be here. I am so excited to be a part of the show. And like my good cousin said, it's like amazing because we get to do this together and we haven't got to do this together. So this is very, very exciting.
It is. So over here, we say self-love is essential, right? And that's our number one thing. Our second thing is loving yourself enough that the love from others is a bonus. So that's what we focus on. Self-love in all things.
And it's
that come from life, right? So today we talking about motherhood. Keisha is a mother. I am a mother. So this is going to be very, very exciting. However, mother or not, you are a nurturer, especially because you're a woman. So this episode is definitely for you. So we ask that you sit back, relax, and enjoy. You have comments, questions that you want to send in, by all means, always email me at Tammy at I am Tammy Nicole. Send it all in so we can discuss it on the next episode. So,
what's up?
Keisha, let's dive in. When we hear the word self-love and motherhood together, what comes to mind?
So it's so funny that you say that. So, of course, we talked about my organization, She Chose Her. But really, She Chose Her came from when I was in the pits of being a mother, being a single mother, actually being a mother who felt like I just didn't have anybody, who felt like I was like in anxiety, in depression. And I literally was looking for a way out. I was looking for someone to talk to. And I hate to say it, but I'm so real. Like a lot of Black women don't like to talk about their pain and their struggles. And so I went through that like alone. And the one friend that really walked me through the whole situation while I was pregnant, while I was depressed, while I was in anxiety, she wasn't even a mother. She didn't even have kids. And so when I got on the other side of that thing, God said, I need you to put something in the world. Like for one, I'm a strong believer in faith, but God is a guy who says, find a need and meet the need. So when I finally got on the other side of that thing, I was like, you know what? I need to put something in the world where mothers, but also women can love themselves through this uncomfortable unknowing place because you never know the journey of motherhood because it's always different. And I say that because I
Hmm.
have two kids.
Right.
And the way I love my oldest is not the way I can love my youngest. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to start She Chose Her. And She Chose Her was centrally focused on
Hmm.
a woman, a mother, a lady overcoming her guilt, prioritizing her self care, meaning prioritizing
Hmm.
her, because we can only be as good as we are to ourselves, to other people. And then helping her heal
Yeah.
while she journeys with God. Like, and so when I think of motherhood and I think of self love, I automatically think of She Chose Her. Because when I tell you, She Chose Her was like literally built off motherhood and self love. Like, man, it's really mind blowing to me how I can just see what God is even doing with She Chose Her, even now. But I always feel like God says in Habakkuk 2:2, write the plan out so that anybody
Yeah.
can
Make it
understand
plain.
it. And now I'm literally walking in that. And now I'm here with
Yeah.
you, like talking about motherhood and self love.
Right. Motherhood is so for me, when I hear both self love and motherhood, I look at it like, oh my God, two difficult things, right? Motherhood is a struggle
Yes.
sometimes, and so is loving yourself. And so when you're marrying the two, it's like, oh my God, this is a big mountain. This is like
How am I going to overcome?
enormous, right? And how do I do it? How do I do both? Um, Now over here, because as you know, the whole title of the show is
Period.
called Loving
Period.
Me Before I Love You, right? That includes kids
Absolutely. Like, let me tell you. And I don't understand what's right.
at
Like, and it's
100%.
a lot of moms who be feeling like, oh, I'm not going to buy myself anything because I got to get my kids something. Oh, I'm not going to do this because I got to get my kids something. Oh, da 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 da, because of kids. And I'm just like, girl, you need to get you together.
So not only do you need to get you together, but what are you
Right. Are
showing
you
your
really
kids for
showing
real
them? Right.
when you do that? When you put them before you, right? You're teaching them to put others before them as a whole,
No.
right? And we don't want to do that because we lose self all the time because of other people. But we're not really taught as kids to love us first. It's always, what about this person? Um, be considerate of that person. Did you ask so and so if they want a piece of that? And it's like, wait, I got one piece. I got one piece. And if I really want this one piece, yeah, no.
Why do I have to share it? Like, why do I have to share it? Like,
Now,
why?
don't get it.
Why? And you're absolutely right because even considering when I grew up, I don't really think about. I don't think any time that I had to do something for myself or like, you know what, let Keisha just have a day for herself. It was like, no, can you go do this? Can you go do this? Such and such wants you to do this, and I look back and I'm just like, it goes back to what you said. We teach our kids like unknowingly, unwillingly, we teach our kids
Yeah,
behaviors to accept and we don't even know. So then when they grow up, you're like, and I'm just being realistic, you grow up and you're like, well, why do you let this man talk to you like this and you have a daughter? And it's like, well, that's all I know. Like I've only seen where I'm supposed to sit back and allow. I only respond
correct.
how I've been taught. So then you raise your kids in this traumatized environment for them to only have to grow up and unlearn
Toxic.
a lot of things that they thought they learned, but also they grow up as adults and don't even know who they are because they only know what they've been taught.
Absolutely. We don't teach self exploration. We teach, you know, do what I want you to do more than do what you want to do, as a whole. So when you're on a self love and motherhood journey, a lot of times it's like, wait, I got to unlearn that, because I did learn that I'm supposed to care and love others more than myself. And that's so wrong. We talk about being in a biblical society, and God said, love thy neighbor
Okay,
as
okay. You preaching
thyself.
now. Cause how can I look
So I can't love you
loving me?
if I ain't loving me first. So the right order is to love me, then love you, but love you at the same level that I love me. So if I ain't loving
No,
me, that
I
means I
promise
sure ain't
you,
loving you. I
it
don't
may
care what
look
the
like
words really
love.
say.
Right.
But let's just keep it 100. So even in motherhood, you give birth to this baby and you don't love you. Do you really think you loving them? No, we're not. It's a facade. It's an act. I
You're
am
supposed to
doing what
do.
I
Yep.
think is right based upon what others have shown me or
Right.
said to be the right way to go. But what am I feeling
Resentment,
on the inside?
regret. I
Mm,
don't want this
emptiness,
child. Yeah.
emptiness, cluelessness, because I don't really know what that is. I'm just
Or I'm doing
doing
what
to
I
do.
saw done. Like I'm doing what I only saw my mother do, not understanding that your mother was in a pattern
Yeah.
and not a healthy pattern. You know what I'm saying? Like
Herself.
we start to do these patterns and we
Yep.
think that what looks right is healthy, and then we come to realize like this ain't right at all. This is not how you do it at all. And it goes back to when you were saying like
Correct.
you're with your kids and you're doing, but at the same time you're resenting, you are neglecting, you are not loving, you are
Hmm.
really like you're doing it, but you can't even love your kid the way you love your kid because you ain't even dealt with why your kid even here or even why you was here. Like you ain't even dealt with your parents stuff. So it's almost like how can I fully love you when I fully don't even know who I am? Like, and that is the main reason
Yeah.
why I created She Chose Her. Like, I look back and I really think because it's the title, the name is bold. It's simple. And it's so funny because my apostle was talking about simple faith, but it's simple. She chose her. I literally finally chose myself. I literally got boundaries, and it's crazy how people think boundaries is just like black age. Like, you mad at me? You mad at me because I got
Girl.
limitations?
So let me tell you something. So when I teach this thing called self-love, the main thing people like to talk about is self-care. And I always have to debunk the theory or the idea. Self-love does not equate
No.
self-care. Self-care does not equate
Right.
to self-love. Self-care
Of
is a
self love.
part
Right.
of self-love,
No.
but it ain't
No.
it. It ain't its totality. Okay? Boundaries, forgiveness, self-care, those are the core of self-love. Boundaries and forgiveness being the
Because
number
you got
two.
to free. Yeah.
When you complain about others not showing up for you and you don't show up for yourself, boundaries misconstrued. Like, where are they?
Like when you feel like you can't say no, I
So,
think it's so
yes,
weird when people be like, I just don't want to say no, but I'm so tired and I got to run my kids around. Well, say no. Like what is your it's the illusion of an obligation that you don't even have an obligation to. Like your mind, it's a mind thing.
right.
Like in the Bible, God says if you can control the mind, if you can get a handle, the battlefield of the
You can
mind, if you
control
can get a
everything.
battle, if you can control this mind thing, you can control the world. But that goes back to understanding that it starts with you, nobody else. Like, it's all going to be you. Like, even when
Absolutely.
you consider projection and why you're feeling this way, I'm like, I am so quick with my ladies, with my women. I am so quick. When they complain to me, when they vent to me, the first thing I ask them is, why do you think you feel that way? Like, that's like my first question. Like, what is it in you that makes you feel that way? What is it in you that makes you think they're supposed to do this? Because God says we're not supposed to have expectations
Right.
anyway. So now it's like a ripple effect. Now you have in your mind mentally told yourself, I got to do this, I got to do this, I got to do this. Because if I don't do this, this person is going to respond like this. The person ain't said nothing. And then when the person doesn't respond in the way that you wanted them to, or the way that you would have, now you're mad. When you could have said no at the beginning if you didn't want to do something.
Yeah. So how do you right, but how do you set your boundaries as a mother, as a
As a
business
wife,
owner, as a wife? How do you
let me
set
tell you
your
something. And
boundaries?
let me tell
What do
you, let me
boundaries
tell
look like
you,
for you?
it was I love my husband. Shout out to Mr. Love. Cause it takes a lot for him to deal with me, but he deals with me and I'm worth it. So it is what it is. But listen, when me and him were dating, I was so adamant about like my non-negotiables. I was so adamant about like this is what I can deal with a whole lot of stuff, but this is not what I'm gonna deal with. Like, and I think for one, I set my boundaries because I got to know me. I think you can't really set boundaries until you really know who you are. So I really had to go into a place where I was like, okay, let me figure out who I am. So that had to deal with a lot of unlearning because I was only saying I was this and I like this and I was that and I like that based off of how I was kind of raised and how I grew up in my environment. So when I got out of my environment and I started building my life for how I wanted it to look like, I was like, okay, Keisha, this is a trigger for you and
Mhm.
you don't like this. That's how I started building my boundaries. Whatever is a trigger for me is a boundary for me. I'm not about to let you play in my field where I know I can't deal. Like, that actually kind of rhymed, and I just said that. I can't do
Mhm.
it. But listen, I'm not going to let you play where I know it's going to make me uncomfortable. So I had to get to know what I didn't like, what I didn't want to deal with. So that's how my boundaries were built. They were built
Mhm.
off of my traumas and my triggers because I can't allow you to because back when I was this age or when I felt this way, it made me feel like this. And because I know it makes me feel like this, I can't allow you to do that. So I'm gonna say no. And I was one of those people. It literally took me, I say 29 years, I'm 32, but I say 29 years only because I think from birth until I actually started something. That's why I use my year play. But it wasn't until I was 29 years that I went to therapy for the first time. And it's so funny. I love my parents. God knows I do. But when I first started going to therapy, my mom used to be like, "You going to see your psychologist? You crazy or something?" I'm like, "Girl, shut up. No. Like, I just know there's something I need to work on with me. I don't know me. I don't know why let me tell you, Tam, because we gonna be real here. I didn't know why I had the career I wanted, the family I wanted, everything that I wanted, and I was not happy. I could not understand why I could not be happy in everything that I had asked God for. Like, I literally had asked God to give me. God says, "Ask and you shall receive." So I'm like, He gave me the desires of my heart, and I was not happy. And I did not know why. Like, how am I not happy with all this stuff that you have blessed me with that I've asked for? I got the car. I got the promotion. I got the house. I got the family. Why am I not happy? Girl, I went to therapy and my therapist literally told me straight up, she was like, "You aren't happy because you are second in your life. Like, you put everybody before you. You say yes to them before you say yes to yourself." And that was mind blowing to
Mhm.
me. because we be out here people pleasing.
All day, all day. And that's a part of why I have started the whole self love journey and being a self love empowerment coach for women. Because a lot of times we are the nurturers, we are the ones everybody goes to for everything, but you can't pour from an empty cup.
No.
So if you're not filling your cup, if you're not having your cup being filled, what are you giving out?
Trash.
The worst vomit, the worst vomit you can ever experience is one with an empty stomach, right? It is acid, it is lying, it's the worst taste of
And it's
America
painful.
because you've given something you don't have,
Right.
right? You are eliminating the linings. And it's like we as women do it often, too often, and we need to do something different. And a lot of times it's more based upon your trauma. We are trauma driven. We operate out of trauma, we live out of trauma, we think trauma is the normal. And not until you experience a trauma-free life, and
It
people say
is.
that's not
I live
possible. It
it.
definitely is.
Thank you,
Um,
God.
until you experience it, you think it is what's supposed to be. You know, I think about, we're talking about motherhood, and we even if you look at a mother-daughter relationship that is full of toxicity and trauma, we create it and recreate it often because we
Normal.
feel it's what's normal. It's like if there's no drama, there's a problem. You know, it's if your kids are not acting a donkey in public and you having a snap, we having an abnormal day. They were behaving today. That's abnormal. When it should be opposite. If they misbehave, it should be like, what's going on?
You're right. Are you needing
How are you
right? What do we need
feeling?
to focus on?
What do we need to talk about? Parenting from the soft space. Gentle parenting is a thing. Everything doesn't have to be beat you over the head, cuss you out, degrade you. We are raising young adults. Excuse me. We're raising young adults. They're kids. They don't know nothing, but they're
Right.
learning what you teach them. So if we're teaching them, hey, somebody do something you don't like, you cuss them out.
Instead of telling him that you just don't like it. What's
This is
wrong
what
with
this is
communication?
instead of knowing what you like, knowing what you want, knowing your boundaries, knowing what you deserve, and being assertive and explaining that in a effective communication. If I can't verbally tell you what I want and need without cussing you out or going silent,
I have a problem.
problems, but we're not teaching it. Yeah, we're not teaching it. So when you think about all of this, right? I think like moms just struggle in general with balancing, right? Like, how do I balance being me, loving me, and parenting? I have an answer for it, but I want to know yours.
And it's so crazy
How
because
do you
people like
balance it
I'm
all?
telling you, people look at me all the time and they just like, girl, for one, I'm always smiling. I'm a smiley girl. I just look, but that's the side of freedom though. That's the side of peace. For one, I have great peace. I have great freedom. So I have nothing to be upset about. But also I've learned this, and I'm one of those people. I reference the Bible because I be in the Bible. I reference my spiritual leader because I honor him. But my spiritual leader, Stephen Allen Davis, always tells us, and he teaches us this: you can only be 100% in one area every day. Truth be told, there's no way for me to be able to show up 100% as a mom, 100% as a wife, 100% as an entrepreneur, 100% in my career, 100% as a
Mm-hmm.
friend, 100% as a daughter. There's no way for me to show up 100% on a Monday and do everything in those 6 different areas or 7 different areas or whatever you have going on. So it's balance. So you have to schedule out a day. On Monday, I'm 100% for my husband, and people are going to get the other percent. I may be 30% as a mom. I may be 60% in my career. I may be 40% here. And I may be
Mm.
50% for myself. On Tuesday, my husband don't get my 100%. He probably going to get 70 because I need to show up 100% for my children. So on this day, 100%, I'm going to show up for my kids 100%.
Mm.
That's how you balance life out. And then on Friday, like my last night, Friday, I showed up for myself 100%. Let me tell you, I got in my car. I took my car I ran it through the car wash. I didn't even talk on the phone. I just did whatever Keisha wanted to do. I was floating. I went by my mama house. She called me. I was like, "Hey mama, I'm on the phone. I can't talk right now. What's up?" She said, "I saw you taking some out the house." I said, "I brought some in." That was all I said to my mama yesterday. She called, I text. Boundaries. I could have called her back, but I was taking Friday is Keisha Day. If I don't want to pick up the phone for my mama, that don't mean I love her any less. I love her wholeheartedly. But today
Right.
she on 30 and 100% is me. And that's how I've learned to balance it out. I think people think that they have to show up for everybody in one day. And that's not realistic. It's not realistic. Like, to be
Mm-hmm.
honest, Jesus didn't even show up for everybody in one day. Even Jesus wandered in the wilderness for 40 days because he needed to take some self-care. He needed some time with God. So what makes you
Mm-hmm.
think you're exempt? What makes you feel obligated to think that you have to show up for people when even Jesus in the Bible took several sabbaticals from people? Like, let's be real. He walked by
Mm-hmm.
himself a bunch of times. A lot of times he was like, you know what? Peter, Joseph, y'all getting on my nerves. I'm finna go over here to the hill. I'm finna be on top of the hill. When I come down from the hill, this. But and we don't fail. We fail to realize that when you take that time, when you balance everything out, you're more productive. You are more than what you ever been because you've been able to gather your thoughts,
Absolutely.
focus on what you want, what you don't want.
You can
And it's a
focus.
constant change. Cause how I am right now in 5 years, I won't be like this. I'm gonna be so different because I'm gonna be growing, and we have to understand that we're constantly growing, just like a tree outside. We're just like a tree. Yes, the tree. People be feeling like trees are not alive, but trees are alive and living, constantly growing roots, constantly growing fruit,
Absolutely.
constantly changing seasons. We are just like nature. And we have to nurture ourselves in the same way as the trees do outside. We have to constantly want to grow. We have to constantly want to change. We have to constantly want to die to some things and grow into something else. And I think that as women, we have the man has made us feel like that's wrong. Like, you wrong for wanting to take care of yourself. You wrong for not wanting to have your kids. You wrong for not cooking that man no meal. You wrong. You wrong. I'm gonna be wrong today. Cause today my day.
Absolutely. I believe in me days 24/7. As a clinician, when I provide actual clinical therapy to my clients, the first thing I say, if you don't have a me day, you have a problem. Um, it is essential to have a me day. Now, granted, I can hear all the naysayers right now. You don't know my schedule. I got too much on my plate. That's the first problem. But they feel obligated to have that plate. Okay, cool. You don't want to do a me day. You need to schedule in a me hour. You need to get it in where you are doing just you, what you want to do, how you want to do it, when you want to do it, and have that space. Your day and life, hour and months and weeks and years should not be dictated by everybody else.
No.
You matter. And the ultimate thing is, as much as you're giving to everybody else, you're running yourself into the
Right.
ground, right? Because you're not replenishing, you're not,
Refocusing,
rebuilding and
refueling,
refilling
refreshing.
your
You're
tank.
not.
You're not doing it. So when you sick, down and out, they not getting what you was trying to give them anyway. So why not give it to them at the level of high capacity that you can when you are
Right.
at your best by
Right.
putting yourself first? Like
But you literally can show up everywhere.
I don't
You can,
I don't get it.
I can literally, I mean, I am literally like a walking testimony of putting everybody before me. And then, like, my life has catapulted to a whole nother level. Like, I'm not just saying that. Like, I am so much better in my career. I'm so much better in my being a wife, being a mother. I'm so much better being an entrepreneur. Like, people look at me and they're just like, girl, you got how many? You got, it's so many. They be like, it's 24 hours in a day. How do you do what you do? And I'd be like, balance. Because one thing my husband know, one thing my kids know, I got a spot in my house. Like, let me tell you, that's how much I self love. I done made a spot in the house. If you see me in a spot, don't even, oh, period.
Leave me alone.
I mean, they not, and they be like, mommy,
Yeah.
I be looking at them like, is you dying?
If
What's
the
up?
house ain't burning
Cause you see me
down,
in my spot. What you need? Because if my husband here, don't even come to me
yeah.
in my spot. You need to go to your daddy. Don't come to me. But even my husband, he'll be like, it's so funny now, cause I could be going all day, and that just goes to show how that goes to show how my husband has learned me so much. When I've been drained by the world all day, because I pour into people, I'm constantly everywhere I go,
Mhm.
I am a God. I'm God's walking vessel, and I love that for me. I honestly, I wouldn't change it. I enjoy it. I love letting people know who they are and whose they are. I live for it. But some days are more draining than others. Some days I prepare, and then sometimes God has me on assignment. And so on the days that God really has me on assignment, sometimes I can walk in the house and my husband can look at me and he'll be like, you going to your spot tonight, ain't it? I'll be like, yep. I gotta go to my spot tonight, baby, because I need to refuel myself. And it's not anybody else's responsibility to do that for me. It's not anybody's
Right.
responsibility to pour back into me. It's crazy because I teach Bible studies at this center now called in Birmingham, Alabama, because that's where I'm from. I teach at the Love Lady Center, and it's a rehabilitation center for women who have suffered with drug abuse, alcohol abuse,
Hmm.
and been incarcerated.
Substance. Hmm.
But I teach them out of my apostles book called I Am the One. And I Am the One book really, girl, let me tell y'all, I'm not even just saying this. Y'all should get the book because the book really teaches you who you are, whose you are, your purpose, and why you were created to do everything that you're supposed to do. But I was literally teaching out of the book, and I was telling them, I'm like, the world will tell you that you're supposed to be this, and this. But God tells you you're supposed to be like this. And so man has made us feel like we're supposed to be this strong, independent, self-righteous, carry everything on my back. And I'm just gonna but I'm just gonna walk it out until my knees crumble. Like I always think about this image and the folks around every new year, every mid-year, but it's this lady with this backpack on her back. And it's a staircase, and it's like stress, doubt, whatever. And she has this backpack and she's carrying all these
Right.
burdens. And as she's going, it's like she's hunched over. Society makes us think that that's how we're supposed to be, carrying all the weight on our back
Right.
while we struggle to get past stress. to get past motherhood, to get past self love, to get past self care, to be positive. And God says that with me, your burdens are light. I'll make your burdens light. So it's almost like we allow ourselves to think that it's supposed to be like this when really we supposed to be out like Peter walking on water, feeling real light. Like, I mean, that situation happened, but it is what it is. I gotta go do this. Like, and I think we fail to realize, especially the people who are, I love my family, but I'm not jumping and I'm not skipping and I'm not hopping. If something happened, cool. But if it's out of my control, I can't do nothing for. I can't. All I can do is pray. So I'm not about to uproot my life. I'm not going to be stressed about a situation that I cannot control. And I think that we try to put our hands on things that's out of our control in the first place. No.
Yeah, we can't do it all. I think that we have been taught that we can. I think we've been taught that, you know, beyond it being our responsibility, this is what we're built for, and women aren't built for that. Now, can we hold a lot? Can we handle a lot? We absolutely can. We shouldn't have to. What I can do and what I have to do,
Two different things.
they're two different things. As a mother, it's our job to provide guidance and nurturing to children who will one day be adults and possibly having their own. Right? We are supposed to be creating this circle of life, this cycle of life, that it's more about,
Right.
giving more, like giving the experience so that they can create another experience, so that they can pass on that experience, and so that we just keep it going. But it shouldn't be so heavy loaded. It shouldn't be so, the weight shouldn't be so heavy to the point where
I'm
you're
burdened.
like, I don't want to do this.
Resentment.
Motherhood is hard, especially if you're doing it alone, as a single mother or what have you, but you can't lose you in the process. Like, the best gift you can ever give a child is
Yes,
a whole
yes,
you.
yes. And it's in the fact that you say that because I'm married now, but my oldest is 10 and I've only been married 4 months, but I was a single mom for 10 years, raising two boys as a single mom. So it's not easy. Like, the burden is definitely heavy for sure. And it's hard to when you're on the self-love journey, it's hard to know, am I doing it right? Am I being selfish? And
Mhm.
because you question that too. Because let me tell you, it ain't easy. Healing is not easy. Wanting to go from what you grew up to transitioning into what you are learning about yourself, that walk is not easy. Everybody does not understand. Everybody, for one, don't nobody want to hear you say no, because we all want to, we're all selfish people at the end of the day. I'm gonna always do what's best for Keisha.
Yeah, we want what we want.
Right. And we always
We
gonna
want
want
what we
that.
want,
Right.
period.
Period. And so when you're on this journey and you're really trying to love yourself and you're really trying to do what's best for yourself, you're still stretched. You're still hurt. You're still kind of broken. You're still kind of healing. And people don't do it because it's uncomfortable. People don't do it because it's unfamiliar. But that's where the growth comes from. Like, if I want to be the same
Absolutely.
person, I might as well just stay the same. I might as well be comfortable. I might as well walk around the familiar tree and be in the same place I was last year, tomorrow, and next year. But
Absolutely.
when we can,
I just literally Go
Oh
ahead.
no, like if we could literally finally let's just be like, you know what? I'm gonna allow myself to be stretched. I'm gonna allow myself to be uncomfortable. I'm gonna check out this unfamiliar. Y'all on the other side of that thing, oh my God. On the other side, and it's true, you gotta have
Yeah.
it's the
It's nothing.
process. It's the process. But
Yeah.
if you can trust the process,
But life is a process.
but if you can trust the process, the reward is so much greater. The peace is so much greater. The freedom is so much greater. Like the validation, you don't even need it. I walk around here, let me tell you, I don't need nobody to tell me I'm pretty because I'm gonna look up, I'm gonna wake up every morning and be like, I know I got this in the bag. Somebody had told me something the other day, y'all. Somebody had told me something the other day, and she's older than me. She's older than me, and she was like, "Thank you, little sis." Da, 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 da. And I was just like, "I'm big dog. Like, don't listen to me. I love you, but don't listen to me. I'm big dog. I'm a big dog. I because I have to saturate who I am. I have to boldly just proclaim and declare and let the world know who I am. Because if I don't, they're gonna treat me and trample me any kind of way, and I'm gonna be used and abused out here. And we fail to realize that.
If you
If there
allow
you
it.
go. If I was to allow it,
Yeah, if you allow it. I think that a lot of times what we forget is that we strive so hard to receive something that we see on social media and society just because it looks good, right? It looks like that feels good. It looks like that's would be a great experience. That looks amazing. It looked like it tastes good if it's a plate. If it looks like, oh man, he's loving on her, wonderful. I want a man to love on me like that. It looks all those things look
perception.
all day. And so, but what we fail to realize is that what looks good for them may not be good for you because you got to get to know you first. You got to know, yeah, that look good. I think I want that because it just looks like she's having a great
Oh
time.
my God.
But at the same time, you go get it and you be like,
I
I
don't
don't
even
want
like
that.
it.
That's nasty.
Like,
It looked amazing. But that ain't for me,
seriously.
right? Like, and so a lot of times we forget to figure out who we are. I'm sorry, guys, we have to cut it short right here. But it is not the end. Part 2 will air next week. We thank you for taking the time to listen, and we hope you have learned a few things about the importance of self love and motherhood. Remember, click the follow button to be notified of all new episodes and send us an email on topics you would enjoy to hear. We can be reached at Tammy at IamTammyNicole.com. Until next time, remember self love is essential.